Welcome to She Lancer, Mom Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Angela Olfest, otherwise known as VoiceOver Angela. In this podcast, we talk about my adventures in freelancing, my voiceover business, and everything else in between. Let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Thank you for joining me again for another live Q&A session here on my channel. For those of you that are new, welcome. My name is Angela. I am a full-time voiceover artist and audiobook narrator, and my channel here is dedicated to those of you just getting started out in this wonderful world of voiceover and audiobook narration. And through my channel, I share with you some of the tips and tricks and techniques that I use every day in my own voiceover business. And I answer your questions in these live weekly Q&A sessions. If you're not new here, then you know that every week we have a new poll. And today's poll, it's a pretty simple question. Are you a? And the options are, we've got about 18 votes. So it looks like, the options are narrator, producer, narrator, and producer. Or are you an author and a narrator and producer? Because you can do all of them if you want to. It looks like 33% of you said that you're just a narrator. 11% of you said you're just a producer. 47% of you said narrator and producer. And 5% of you said author and narrator producer. And the point, excuse me, the point of the question is that I get a lot of questions asking about the definition or what's the difference between being a narrator and a producer. And I think a narrator, it's pretty obvious, right? You're the one that is narrating the audiobook. A producer is someone who does all of the post, right? The editing, the formatting, the mastering, right? The mistake removal, getting the files ready for audiobook distribution. I think most of us, and according to the poll, it looks like I'm right. I think most of us are both because we have the ability to do everything, or we try to learn to do everything from our home studios. That way, whatever we earn, we keep, right? Otherwise, if you're just a narrator and you outsource your files to a producer or an editor to edit, master, format your files, then you're obviously sharing in some of your revenue with them and you're keeping less for yourself. And in the beginning, I mean, let's just be real. When you're first getting started out, we typically don't, our pay ranges aren't that high because we're still deciding whether or not we want to do this. And, just kind of venturing into audiobook production. So the majority of us start out that way, doing both. And I think doing that, obviously you get to keep all the money that you make, whether it's royalties or it's, per finished hour. But actually, I just sidetracked. I just had a question for myself. But in knowing how to format and master your own files is definitely going to help you out in the downtimes when you don't yourself have a book to produce or narrate. Then maybe you can offer your services with your knowledge of editing, formatting. Oh, looks like I just froze there for a second. Sorry about that. I don't know what's happening. Internet's been goofy again. But that is something to consider, in the downtimes when you don't have your own audiobooks to do, you can offer your services to another narrator who might need someone to help them edit, format, master, get their noise floor under control, maybe to just add the room tone at the head and tail of a file. Someone who is just also starting out, that doesn't really understand the requirements for ACX. If you have that knowledge, offer that to others. And you can offer that through, if it's allowed, through either the Facebook groups that you're in. You can offer them on freelance platforms, like Fiverr, Upwork, Guru, Any of those are on your own website. Or, there might be a narrator who's got lots of books in their queue and doesn't have time to do the editing, formatting, and all of that stuff. And they just need to maybe pass off a book or two to someone else to help them out. My point is that if you have this knowledge and this skill, offer it, right? But that is the difference between when you typically see narrator and producer. But on places like ACX, they're kind of lumped together, right? Narrator, producer. Although recently I was poking around on ACX and I did see that they offer another profile type of, how is it worded? I think it's called studio professional, right? And that is basically just the post stuff, right? So you could offer your services there too. Although I'm pretty sure that ACX, I don't know if they've changed this or not. And if you know, please let me know. But they won't allow you to have a multi-type profile, meaning once you sign up as a narrator producer, you can't also be an author. You can't also be a studio professional, right? So I think that's something that probably needs to be updated because a lot of us do all of these things apart from being the author, of course. But, well, that's not necessarily true. Some of us are. I know a lot of voice artists and audiobook narrators that are also authors. And if you are an author, then narrate and produce your own audiobook. So there's an idea too. All right, I'll stop jabbering. All right, let's head on over to the comments and see who's here. Actually, let me take off the poll question. There we go. Now, let's see who's first in. Joya. Thank you for your inspiration. Oh, after Thursday's meeting, I set up my first Fiverr account and gig. I have a gig where I write custom VO demo scripts. Even got a gig within hours with 5-star review. That's awesome. If you have the skills above and beyond voiceover and audiobook narration, which a lot of us do, we all have skills in something that you've learned prior to jumping into this industry. Offer those skills as well. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't have to be, you'll have a voiceover audiobook narration business, but why not have something else that you already know how to do and offer those services as well? Because let's be real, especially in the beginning, you're not going to have everybody beating down your door to narrate their book, right? So you might need to have something else in the lulls or in slow time to keep income coming in, right? And you can do that on places like Fiverr and Upwork. On Fiverr, you can have multiple gigs for different skill sets that you have in addition to voiceover or audiobook narration or all the above. And then on Upwork, you can have specialized profiles, one for all work. And then you can have a specialized profile for voiceover audiobook narration. And then you can have another specialized profile for, copywriting or whatever it is. So the clients can find you no matter what your skill set is. And then Kara says, that's awesome. Yes, that is awesome. It's fabulous. I know there's a lot of people out there that need content with depth and feeling, right? I don't quite know if ChatGPT can get there yet. But I don't think content creation is dead just yet. So go out there and do it. And then Joya says to Kara, thank you. Tuesday's lives keep me inspired. Oh, stop it. Kara said same here. Oh, woot woot. It's time. Oh, yeah. When I was starting the intro, you guys are so sweet. Thank you so much. Jeff here at Jeffrey 906 Podcast for producing. What are your thoughts on having a bit of music between each chapter? An author asked me to, and I am not sure it works well, but I will try. You can have music in an audiobook. ACX, namely, I don't know about the other distribution sites, but ACX does mention on their site that they don't recommend music, but it's not prohibited. So you can add music, and I've done it myself many times. And that's typically only when the author asks for it, right? Some books you'll find music all the way through. Like if it's meditation book, maybe not all the way through, but all the way through certain files, like chapter 1 is nothing but a meditation. You'll have music all the way through that. Some authors want music in between chapters, which can be kind of tricky to make sure the music sounds like it doesn't cut off and end at the end of one file and then start at the at the beginning of the next file. That could be kind of tricky to do. Plus, you also have to consider that even when you add music at the head or tail of a file, it still has to have the room tone at the beginning and at the end in order to comply with ACX's requirements. So it's something to consider. But music, of course, takes more time. It takes more effort, especially if you're tasked with sourcing the music. So make sure that you're charging appropriately for adding music, sound effects, whatever it is that you're adding above and beyond the narration and production. But you can do it. It takes a little bit more time, and it's a little bit tricky. It can be tricky, but you can do it. And ultimately, it comes down to what the rights holder wants, right? It's their baby. It's their production. So if they want it, add it. Phil says, hey, all. Hey, Angela. Hey, Phil. How's it going? Hat Pausers here. Good morning. Victoria Smith. Good morning. At home with Tom and Rhonda Howard. Good morning. We loved your class with Anthony. Oh, yeah, the webinar. That was fun. Yeah, we had I had a webinar with Anthony Pica on Saturday, and that was a lot of fun. I hope you guys got something out of it. Brick Joe says, good morning from Philippines. Well, good morning, Brick Joe. Glad to have you. Kamikaze. Clever. Good morning. Facebook user, who is this? This is Juan Alvarez. Good morning. Hola. Let's see. Annie Waybright. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, Angela and everybody. This week is when I get serious about auditioning after 2.5 months of obsessive researching. It's really easy to get stuck in that phase. It is, because it's safe, right? Starting anything new is intimidating, and it could be terrifying for some people because you don't know what you don't know. There's a lot to learn. There's a lot of work involved in not just the actual production process, but also in, setting up your profiles everywhere, recording your demos, finding copy for your demos, learning how to use your DAW, finding places to solicit work, marketing, social media. There's a lot to create, add, change. There's a lot of work involved, and that really goes for any new business that you're starting. But it's really easy to get stuck in that procrastinating stage, right? We like to use that word a lot because it fits, right? Because you get stuck in the stage of, well, I still need to learn this, or I still need to learn that before I can move forward. I need one of these before I can move, whatever it is, right? It's really easy to get stuck in that stage, but you need to keep moving forward. You need to take that step out. I mean, it could even be just, instead of sticking your whole foot in, you can just put a toe in and see how it goes. Everybody's journey is different. Everybody's schedule is different. Everybody's responsibilities, are different. So go the speed that's necessary for you, but just keep moving forward. And you'll see that you'll discover that this is for you or it's not. You might fall in love with it. You might decide that it's too much work and that you can't, maybe not right now, maybe a little bit later. But like we talked about, I think last week, ready, fire, aim, right? You're ready. You've learned what you needed to learn. So go. And on the webinar, Anthony was like, I'm more of a fire, ready, aim kind of guy. Just do it. And then as you do it, you will learn and become ready, and then adjust your aim accordingly. Once you have a better understanding of what is required of you, or what you need to have or get done, you just kind of learn as you go, kind of a thing. But yes, I like that. Get serious about your auditioning. Get it done. Your favorite today and every day. I like that. Good morning. Good morning. Facebook user. Let's see, who is this? This is Juan Alvarez. So nice to see you after a much needed break, visiting family in the Philippines. It's nice to have, and you got to give yourself breaks. I don't think we do that enough. I certainly don't. Kara says, you got this, Annie. That's absolutely right. You got this. Do it. Just do it. We all believe in you. Phil says, Joya, that's amazing. Yes. Annie Waybright, nice. A little froggy this morning. Danny Alvarez says, howdy, Angela from Texas. Well, howdy, Danny. What's the weather like in Texas today? Robert Hunter Bird says, hi, Angela. Hello, Robert. I have submitted a dozen or so auditions to ACX now and was submitting with specs. Then I was told that it's not necessary for auditions. Only the finished product is that accurate. You know, to be completely honest, I've always submitted my auditions within spec. So I've never received a message that said, hey, this needs to be adjusted, or I've never heard otherwise. I just always had done that. And the reason behind that is because I wanted the client to hear what the final product would sound like, right? And in reality, it only takes an extra couple of minutes to format a file to ACX requirements. So whether it's necessary for an audition or not, I'm not exactly sure. If I'd say give it a try, just try submitting an audition that's not to spec and see if you get a message saying, hey, you need to change this. But I've always submitted them to spec. That way there's no surprises on the client's end. You know, if it's much louder, because the end result will be much louder in most cases because, you know, the ACX specs are pretty loud. So I wanted to give them an accurate representation of what the final product would sound like. Hat says, I guess technically everybody's a producer if we have to create our own auditions and samples, right? Well, yes, but I guess the reason I wanted to explain the difference between the two is because I get that question a lot. Like, what is the difference between a narrator and a producer? But if you're in your own home studio creating your own samples, I mean, if you don't have someone with you that does all of the post, then yes, you are the narrator producer. You're both, right? But technically there are two different roles. There's the narrator, and then there's the producer who handles all the post, right? Everything after the narration. But I'd say most of us are both. So yeah, if you're narrating everything and then editing it, formatting it, doing all of that stuff, which again, I think applies to most of us. So yeah. Is it Getty? I already forgot. See, I'm horrible with names. I think it's Getty, right? Getty Gibbs. Good afternoon from Effort. Good afternoon. Victoria Smith, I'm a completely fresh beginner. Angela and Anthony are my go-to for learning. Aw. Well, welcome to the voiceover audiobook narrator family, Victoria. And thank you for that. Yeah, Anthony's awesome. HPVO says, good morning, Angela and everyone. HPVO, Mary. Just completely skip over the Mary part. Hi, Mary. Need more coffee. Pamela McDonald says, morning. Morning, Pam. Good to see you. Rustic Hillbilly says, good morning from Oregon where the snow won't stop. Yeah, I heard. Man, I mean, California and Oregon have gotten a lot of weather, right? Over the last couple weeks. Joya's calling out Phil. How's the book going, Phil? How's the book going, Phil? Hey, and congratulations, Phil. Proud of you. Your favorite today and every day says, I am so incredibly grateful for your videos, Angela. Oh, I submitted my first 2 auditions to ACX last night and landed a job within an hour. Good for you. But now I'm a little nervous and have to figure that out. And being nervous is completely normal because this is the first time, right? The first time you do anything, you're nervous. But just be sure that you have the time you need to get it done and take your time and get it done. You will learn a lot with just that first book, but you can do it. You can. Congratulations. Jim Frank says, finally made it here. Well, we're glad that you did, Jim. Good to have you. Phil says to Joya, it's going great. Almost done with some editing on the book. Once that's done, I'll read it again. And if everything is good, I'll start recording. That's awesome. Good job, Phil. Joya says, good vibes. Yes. Love that. Connections being made here in the chat. I love it. Hat says, yes, income coming in. I got to get me some of that pronto. And there's a lot of ways to do it from your home office. There are a ton of ways, non-voiceover audiobook related, that you can make money from home. Tons. It's good to diversify anyway. It's good to diversify your income, right? Have multiple streams of income, because you never know when one stream is going to, dip down and then pick back up, in a month or two. You need something to kind of keep you steady, or at least, something that you can live on, put food on the table. Vehicle Bud says, good morning, America, from Sacramento, California, where the Kings NBA basketball team live. Absolutely. Sacramento. I remember Sacramento. Michael Forsyth says, hi, Angela from Blaine, Washington. You're such an inspiration to watch. You have a great attitude about stuff. And that is a learned attribute. I think over the course of starting this business about 5 years ago now, I've learned the art of mindfulness and gratitude. I was very cynical, still kind of am about things, but the only way to keep moving forward for me is to find the good and to be thankful and grateful for the good that there is in any situation, right? That's why I always say things like, obstacles are lessons that are needed to be learned. There is good in almost everything. There is a lesson in the things that we consider to be bad or a problem, right? It was something that we were meant to figure out for future reference at some undetermined point, right? But yes, the only way to keep moving forward, I have found, is to remain positive and to find and see the good in everything. At home with Tom and Rhonda Howard, my wife and I are working on and excited about the team narrator approach. Good. It is fun for us to work together this way. We will be reaching out for advice as we learn more. That's fabulous. And if you have a team situation like that, not for you, Tom and Rhonda, but for anyone else watching, if you have a partner and you can team up to do an audiobook, that's great. That's great. Because you already are comfortable with each other, right? So there's no awkwardness, right? There's already a familiar feeling between the two of you. So it just sounds like the chemistry is just more normal sounding, I guess, is what I'm looking for. Kamikaze says, thank you for getting my name right. Kamikaze. It's tricky for some. I bet. I love all the very clever usernames that you guys use. I always get a kick out of those. Kevin Harvey says, morning from Oregon. Another Oregonian. Good morning, Kevin. Cecil J50. Need to put my glasses on. Good day, Angela. 4 LibriVox selections down. ACX profile up and running. Going to wrestle with Fiverr this afternoon. You've been helped me bigly. I'm going to use that now, bigly. And thank you. Well, you're welcome, Jay. I appreciate that, but you did all that work. I'm glad I have helped you, but you really should be celebrating those successes. Celebrate them all. any little step forward is a step forward. So celebrate all of your victories, no matter how small. That just goes along with mindfulness and gratitude, right? Celebrate it. And that's great. It sounds like you're making progress. So that's awesome. Getty says Getty like Gettysburg. Okay, so I did say it right, right? Getty? Veritas is here. Hello, hello. Hi, Angela. If I become a platinum member, would that be a good place to ask for feedback on my narration? I just want wider feedback now. Is asking for feedback a regular thing with the group? Yes, it is. I think we usually have an agenda every week. Well, there's usually 4 or 5 weeks in a month, right? So 3 of those weeks, the first week, everybody brings their own script and then they read it for the group and then you get feedback on that. The second week, I bring a script and everybody takes turns reading the same copy because the different perspectives and interpretations of that same copy are very interesting and we all learn a lot from each other. And then the third week is everybody brings something pre-recorded, like a demo, a sample, an audition, an order that they did, and they get feedback on that. So those are the first 3 weeks of every month. So yes, we do a lot of feedback giving in the Platinum group. And there's, I think, just shy of 60 people in the group now, but a good 20 or so show up every week for participation. And it's very casual. We have a lot of fun. Everybody brings a beverage, and we have a lot of laughs. But we get the work done, right? It's a very loving and supporting group, and I love every one of them. A lot of them are here in the chat. So yes, it's a great place for that. Joe Voice, I have wrapped myself in a cocoon of moving blankets in my audio room. You and Anthony were just what I needed this weekend. Oh, that's fabulous. I'm glad you made it. That's awesome. That's great. JCCAOL says, currently narrator, future producer, and author. Angela, I'm currently listening to Black Ghosts as well as some other titles. Angela, all I can say is great job. Thank you. I appreciate that. And author, future author or current author? That's awesome. I say everybody go write a book. I mean, you have a story to tell. You know you do. Go write a book. Goodness. And then make it an audiobook. Awesome. Your favorite today and every day says thank you. Absolutely. Michelle S. says, hi, Angela and everyone. You are so great to do these lives every week. You have such great tips and inspiration. I did my first 7 auditions on ACX and had my first scam attempt. Be aware, everyone. Yeah, and that goes with really any place that you make yourself available online. They're going to try you every which way that they can get a hold of you. So just, use your common sense, ask questions. I know ACX is actively trying to ferret these guys out and remove them, but the same could be said for any site that you're on. But until they are caught and removed, just, keep your head about you and ask questions. If your spidey senses are tingling, then it's probably something that you want to avoid, right? But I'm glad that you recognized it and caught it before it became a problem. And 7 auditions, good job. Victoria says, I'm waiting on my laptop, but learning the production process using GarageBand. Does anyone use it on a regular basis? I've heard a lot of people starting with GarageBand, and then moving to Audacity and then moving to Adobe Audition is usually the natural progression. I don't know how much you can get done with GarageBand. I've never personally used it, but I have heard some people say that have used GarageBand that they could not get what they needed to get done, whether it be effects or formatting. There was something there that I think it's mostly for like voice notes and stuff, right? I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe I should just not even talk about it. But from what I understand, most people I have heard talk about GarageBand said that it was not, there was something about it that they could not get the formatting right using GarageBand. But Audacity is free. You can start with Audacity. Audacity does use or will format your files appropriately. Jeff says team situation narration, like Michael Kramer and Kate Reading. Awesome duo. Yeah, team situation narration. If you have the ability, if your partner also is a narrator, then you guys have a whole other door open to you for, dual narrations and duet narrations. Joya says, I finished your audiobook practice script for the Platinum group. I sent you a message to try and get it to you. Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah, you can email it to me. If you sent it through my website, I think you can upload it there if you want to. It goes, no one else will see it. It just goes right to me. You can do that if you want to. Thank you for that. Janeri says, good morning, Angela. Good morning, Janeri. Good to have you. Hat says, I got issues. I'm in Tijuana. Thought I could take an online job using a VPN, but the few who hire in California, my official address, all provide a computer, so I can't even fudge my location. Interesting. So, could take an online job using a VPN. You mean for voiceover? It shouldn't matter where you are in order to take voiceovers or audiobook jobs. Michael V says, I made it. Yes, you did. Good to see you, Michael V. It's been a minute. Getty says, with a short S in the end. So Gettys? Gettys? Like that? Thank you for your help. Kevin says, you are a big inspiration to a lot of people. Keep up the great work. Stop. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'm just sharing what I know. So hopefully I can save you guys a little bit of time and frustration. But I appreciate that. Facebook user, let's see. This is Colette. Hello, Colette. Good to see you. I'm just ready to build a booth. Is there an optimal size? What weight of packing blanket would be good without breaking the bank? I live on a major traffic road across the street from an elementary school and a rowdy drinker next door. How do I shut out all that noise? Well, let's see. How do we start here? Okay. We actually have Craig in our group has a very, very small booth. I mean, he's, sardined in there. So I would say if you're going to build something with, wood and nails, make sure that you have enough room to move around inside. If you're going to use PVC and moving blankets, then again, just make sure that you have enough room to move around, stand up. There's not really an optimal size. The only thing to consider with the larger you go, the more you're going to have to dampen sound traveling. I guess that really goes for any size booth. I don't know if there's a thickness or density or like gauge of moving blankets. Moving blankets, generally speaking, are pretty thick and dense, and that's to reduce or dampen some of the what's the word I'm looking for? Like the sound waves that are moving around the room, to keep them from making echo, right? What was the other question? As far as getting rid of some of the sounds outside, the moving blankets and building a booth, unless you really soundproof that booth, if you're building one with like hammer and nails and stuff, then you really want to consider a lot of insulation and a lot of like foam padding. There's rock wool and things of that nature that will help dampen the sound. But if you need to block out sound completely, your best bet is to actually build a booth or purchase a studio bricks whisper room. Using moving blankets and acoustic foam is going to help the sound inside your room, but it's not going to soundproof your room. You're still going to have noises coming in from outside of your walls, but the only way to prevent that is to, really insulate your booth if you're building one, or purchase a pre-existing booth like a whisper room, studio bricks, something like that. That is the only way to completely shut all that noise out, unfortunately. So my space is not soundproof. It's treated for sound for the inside here, but it does not completely block out all the outside sound. So I have to be cognizant of trucks passing by or kids rolling by on their skateboard, things of that nature. But it can be done. It just might take a little extra effort and investment, to block out the sound. Hat says, Getty like Getty Lee of Rush. You Rush nerd. Kara says, wine is consumed during Thursday sessions. Oh, wait, that's just me. Yeah. And you don't mess around, Kara. Just goblet. A goblet of wine. That's awesome, though. Hey, we're all adults, right? So as long as we're getting what we came to get done. Joe says, FYI, this is Joanna Cook. I know. Hi. Joe says, I'm a platinum member and I highly recommend it. Nothing has been more helpful in my VO journey. Oh, that's sweet. I'm glad. I really enjoy our Thursday meetings. We have a lot of fun and we learn a lot from each other. I learn stuff from you guys all the time. Randy says, I've submitted 4 chapters so far to LibriVox. It's a great way to practice. Newbies should try it. I think so. That's the way that I started. And again, just the confidence in knowing that that this was something that I could do. Once you get past all of the technical stuff, and that was the hardest part for me because, everything in your DAW is just a completely different language, right? You don't know what anything does. But learning all of that and how to format your files and all of that stuff by just doing it through LibriVox first, volunteering your time to get comfortable with the narration and formatting process. The confidence from that was enough for me to tell me that, yes, you're ready. Go forth and, make some money on this. And then Joya says, I tried emailing it to you and got the email demon. What is the email demon? Through the website? I mean, interesting. I'll check for your message and then I'll give you maybe a different email address if we're having issues. We'll figure it out. But I appreciate you. Thank you. Kinetic Wave says, hi, I'm new here. I feel it was divine timing. I found your live on YouTube. Def would like to connect. Been going through a lot and I feel I need to express myself. Okay. So new to voiceover and audiobook narration? Welcome. Welcome to the family. Kamikaze says, thanks, Randy. Getty says, you've got my name right. After 5 attempts. I've recently quit my job to focus on earning income on ACX. Well, good for you. Also, I would also highly suggest to not put all of you, this goes for anybody, not specifically you, Gettys, but don't put all of your eggs in one basket. Diversify that income. Find other things that you can do from home. Passive income streams, multiple sites. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. You never know when that basket's going to go away. Right? But good for you. Steven says, mattresses make excellent sound excluders. Try to get an attic space. If you have attic space or even a basement, absolutely. But I just have this weird little tiny office closet. I don't even know what the purpose was supposed to be for this room, but it's mine now. I don't even think I could get a mattress in here. There'd be no room for it. I barely fit in here. But yes, mattresses are very dense. Although Blaze, I think in our platinum group meeting a week or 2 ago, said that the only thing to be aware of in mattresses are the spring coils inside. But you would think that they would be dense enough to definitely dampen sound. Joya says, I have horrid noise issues. Waves, Clarity VX, NS1, and RX10 Repair Assistant are the best ways for traffic issues. There are, yes, to touch on that for outside noise, there are a lot of plugins that are fabulous for reducing noise, but you don't want to use them unless you absolutely have to, or use them the right ones the right way. Because if you just do like a blanket noise reducer, because essentially what you're doing with a noise reducer, unless it's Clarity VX, I believe, which is very surgical in distinguishing between noise and dialogue. But some of the blanket noise reducers will just take a specific frequency, like a low end frequency, which is typically noise, right? Not a specific kind of noise, but just low end frequency, and it'll remove or reduce that. But we have a lot of natural low end frequencies in our voices, right? So when you apply like a blanket noise reducer, depending on your DAW or your plugin, right? Not to get, I'm not trying to be specific because it could be anything, right? But if you apply one of those to your voiceover trying to get rid of specific noise, then what you may find is that you're removing some of those same low frequency, tones or those low frequency sounds from your own voice. So you end up sounding tinny or, in your, like you're in another room, like you're talking through a tin can, like those old telephones that we used to do when we were kids with the tin cans and the string. That's what you end up sounding like. So if you need help with removing specific noise, then go on to YouTube, because it's a source for just about every kind of how-to you can think of, and type in your DAW and noise, whatever DAW you're using. And I bet you'll find a video on how to remove a specific sound using a specific noise reducer or plugin. Was that a tangent? That was kind of a tangent. That was a little baby tangent, I think. I hope it helped anyway. Leslie says, morning. An alternative to moving blankets is comforters. Any kind of thick, dense blanket type thing. I mean, you could go to your local thrift store and find one for, probably a few bucks and use that instead of moving blankets. I just find that moving blankets are, for me anyway, and in my space, were most ideal because they weren't too thick that they would use up the remaining usable space in here, but they were dense enough to dampen the reverb in this room. But yeah, blankets and comforters work just fine. Mattress padding. Have some more coffee, Ange. Have some more dairy. Mattress padding, like when you can go to places like Walmart or Target or something like that, and you can buy like a mattress pad. Those work similarly well as well. Kamikaze said, you can call me Cami. You're amazing, by the way. No, you're amazing because you have like the most awesome username. All right, I'll call you Cami. Because I like saying Kamikaze. That's just fun to say. But I'll call you Cami. Thank you. Joya says, RX10 Essentials includes declick, which has built-in mouth declick. It's on sale for $35 for first-time VOs. And just to piggyback off of that, if you purchase the RX10 Elements that has declick, once you're part of the Isotope family, you'll get loyalty offers to upgrade to Standard. And Standard is the package that has the mouth declick, specifically for the mouth noises that we just inherently make as humans. That is the plugin that is just chef's kiss. I mean, it's worth all the chili. The mouth declick, for sure. And it is on sale still for $35, which is awesome. Because I think it's normally, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's like 100 and something normally, right? So if it's on sale for $35, that's a great deal. And then upgrade to Standard from there. Why aren't you showing? Here we go. Michael V says, with a spring mattress, the springs inside have their own harmonic resonance. Thank you. And can vibrate, giving you an odd noise frequency. Thank you for that. That's what I was talking about with the springs inside of a mattress. But I think I think most older mattresses, I mean, as far as I know, I'm not a mattress expert, but all of the mattresses that I have seen, most of anyway, have mostly foam, some kind of composite foam material inside, what do they call that? Memory foam and stuff like that inside. So I think a lot of the older ones will have springs. Maybe the newer ones do too. I don't know. Again, I'm not a mattress expert, but that's something to consider, right? The springs will vibrate and create their own noise. Joe said, yes, Blaze said to cover your mattress with a blanket to dampen any issues with coils. Okay, well, there you go. Just throw a blanket or a cover, like a duvet or a comforter on it. Facebook user, let's see, who's this? Don Stevenson. I'm a newbie, started in narration about 2 months ago, and I'm getting significant work from ACX at decent rates. But Findaway Voices has been crickets. Are there any tricks to getting work there? I have heard first, Findaway Voices, I don't know if you can audition at all with the marketplace. I think it's just a matter of just putting up your profile and hoping someone finds you. But I have heard recently that there are some clauses within Findaway that are not quite awesome. So I don't know for certain. I haven't read them myself, but I've heard a few things about that the rights holder needs to opt out of a clause to use their audio files that they get from you for like AI voice generation or something. I'm not entirely sure if it's true or not, but I would definitely look at that, something to consider. But I would say apart from ACX, if you're kind of tapped with ACX currently, you can always go into places like Upwork, Fiverr, market yourself on social media, reach out to publishers yourself. I mean, ACX is not the only place to find voiceover work. There's also Ahab. There's also, I can never remember this one. Is it Audiobook? This one always just makes a blank. There's Audiobook. Oh my gosh, I'll probably think of it later when it's done. But there are other platforms, is what I'm getting at, to find audiobook work. But also, there's a lot to be said for marketing yourself on social media as a audiobook narrator and have people find you there, right? So don't just, don't put all your eggs in the ACX basket. You can find work elsewhere. Pamela says, I was very surprised how much a whisper room weighs. Yeah, especially the double-walled ones, which is the ones that we typically want, right? The more insulation to soundproof them. They are pretty heavy. Even the small ones are pretty heavy. Check out Studio Bricks, too. That's the one that I want, is the Studio Bricks VO edition. I just don't have any room in this house for one. Otherwise, I'd get one. Steven says, I use a mattress in a modified closet, not an attic. I purchased foam, diamond-shaped foam squares, but surrounded with 2 mattresses. Hey, man, if it works and he got the extra mattresses, again, it doesn't have to be pretty, right? It just has to sound good. Make your room with whatever you've got available. You can always upgrade things later, right? As you start to make some income. And that's the fun part, too. That's a goal you could have, right? This is my goal. I want to have a whisper room, or, make that a goal and save for it. Stephen then says, for planes and vehicles outside, I just practice patience and meditation. Same. I just either stop the recording until whatever commotion outside is over, or I just keep it recording and just kind of, sip some water, take a breath break. Yeah. Joya says, Miss Angela, YouTube doesn't have a vid to remove my avalanche rumbles. Well, if I had avalanches nearby my house, I would definitely make one for you. I just, of course, the one thing, I'm like, yeah, go on to YouTube. You can find anything apart from avalanche rumbles, apparently. Sorry about that, Joya. Oh, we have a super chat. Hold on. Sean Lester 007. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. I've been replaced and unreplaced 4 times this year. Is that normal? Replaced and unreplaced 4 times. I'm not sure what you mean. Replaced and unreplaced? I'm not sure what you mean. On a website? What do you mean? Replaced and unreplaced. Please elaborate. I'd love to know what we're talking about there, Sean. Where are we at? Kevin, I started with some old quilts I got from the secondhand store. See? There you go. I think one was over 100 years old. Oh, wow. I hope you washed it first. On your wall. Joya says RX10 Essentials is 130. Okay, thank you. And on sale for 35. So that's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal. And then from there, upgrade to standard for the mouth declick. For sure. Steven says I use springless mattress. Well, there you go. Yeah, I think that's most of the mattresses within the last, 6-7 years, maybe. I think mostly have no springs. Phil says, I definitely need that mouth declick thingy. I'll tell you what, that single plugin through Isotope Standard, that standard package, the mouth declick alone has cut my editing time by like 80%. Because if you have a sticky mouth, as I do, because I drink a lot of coffee and dairy and all of the stuff you're not supposed to have, because I'm a rule breaker, then you have a sticky mouth, right? You have the little noises that the ASMR people go nuts over. But we don't want that in audiobooks. Not a lot of it anyway. I mean, anyway, I'm going on a tangent. But you can spend a lot of time in your DAW just like removing the mouth clicks, which is just tedious, right? It takes a lot of time. But that single plugin, that mouth declick plugin, has saved me so much time, and not having to do that and removing the bulk of the mouth noises. And then when I go through and edit that final sweep through on my audio files, I remove the retakes, catch any of the big mouth clicks that were not removed enough, and, he'll brush those out. But it is definitely cut down my editing time. Just that single plugin. Love it. Hat says, I'd like to know how that 2-month newbie is getting significant work at ACX. You must really rock, newbie. Congrats. And again, keep in mind that if you don't have similar results, that doesn't necessarily mean, that your audio quality stinks or you stink as a narrator or anything like that. He just happened to cross paths with someone who was looking for his voice right off the bat. It does happen. Doesn't happen a lot, but it happened for him. So absolutely, congrats. And you'll learn a lot in that first book, like I mentioned before. Randy says, I put memory foam in my shoes to help me remember what to do when I go to my whisper room. And because it feels good, right? Memory foam in your shoes. A lot of shoes have that now. That memory foam sole. Not sole, but the, what do they call that? And the inner, you guys know what I'm talking about. The insole. Right? Is that right? Anywho. All right, let's see if Sean... Oh, he did. Okay, well, you didn't have to do another super chat to elaborate your question. Thank you, Sean. But you didn't have to do that. I was looking for you. Replaced as a VO for a YouTube channel. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if that's normal. But I hear similar situations with, like, let's just say there's a 5-book audiobook series, and the narrator is, there's one narrator that does book 1, another narrator that does book 2 and 3, and then another narrator does book 4 and 5. I mean, you could reach out to the client and ask, but it could very well be that he just wants variety, right? I don't know. I don't know if that's normal. If you really wanted to know, reach out to your client and ask them if there was something that maybe they were getting comments about, regarding your narration or your voice, or if they were just trying to, switch things up and see. I don't know. I don't know if that's normal. Does anybody else experience that? Who is this? Facebook user. This is Colette again. Pam McDonald, I was surprised at the price of a whisper room. They are expensive. They are an investment, but you can find them used. I see them on Macari and OfferUp. I see them in, probably check your local pages, classifieds. people selling stuff, you see them a lot there for, half off or 75 or 25% off, something like that, depending on how old it is. But you can get them used too. Or build your own if you're handy. Let's see, Facebook user. This was Larry Walsh. Also check out Bear Cave Silent Booth is amazing. Bear Cave, that's a new one. Is it? Oh, I've also seen people take like old, auditory testing booths or old saunas that are being sold and then converting those because it's already like a freestanding booth, especially the ones that are for like auditory testing because they're insulated, right? They're already insulated. They're probably just as heavy and maybe about the same price as a pre-owned Whisper booth. But I mean, get creative, as long as it's insulated and, enclosed, might work. There's a little bit of elbow grease. Bear Cave. Oh, what was I doing? I was writing that down and I totally forgot what I was doing. See? Bear Cave. What is it? Silent Booth? I'm going to check that out. Very. Okay. And then Hat says, I think Sean is referring to getting fired for AI and then rehired when they found out how much AI sucks. Yeah, I didn't even think of that. But I mean, I guess my brain is just, I'm like open to really anything it could be. But you're right. I think, not to get into the whole AI conversation, but just my thoughts on that are, and Anthony, if you were in the webinar this weekend, Anthony brought up a great point about AI too. AI is just sets of recorded phrases, and the algorithm tells which like inflection or tone to use or which recorded word to use to put together to make it sound cohesive and stuff. But ultimately, it's a program. It's an algorithm that's not going to completely understand the depth of the human soul, what we feel, So that's something to consider. And I think this whole AI thing is a new, it's something new and shiny. But I think to Hat's point, that it's ultimately going to come and go because I still can't listen to anything AI generated. It's just not, there's no soul there. There's no feeling. Yeah. Victoria says, my noise problem is my dog needs to announce every time a person walks by. And when I talk, he thinks there's someone here. Oh, no. Oh, no. Well, I'm hoping that at some point he becomes accustomed to you talking to yourself. That's a tough one. You might have to put the puppy in another room. Maybe give him puppy programming on TV. I don't know. That's a tough one. Maybe get him another. Do you have multiple dogs or just the one? Maybe he needs a friend. Keep him busy. I don't know. That's a tough one. That's the only reason. This job is the only reason why I have not gotten a dog myself. I'd love to have one, but there's just a possibility for so much noise. Kevin says, LOL, yes, and still have it. Andy B, mouth declick RX10. Okay, only $35. Yeah, just remember that there is a declick in the elements for $35. The mouth declick is found in the next package up, which is standard. But if you buy elements at $35, you can then, once you're a member of the RX10 family, they'll give you a loyalty discount and you can upgrade to standard for less than what it would cost to buy standard outright. So keep that in mind. Click. Vaping Mike says, very much enjoyed the web inarticulate. Seriously good information in it. The the webinar? It could have been web inarticulate. I feel like I went on a lot of tangents that day. A lot of tangents. Good. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun. Anthony's the best. Kara says, I have RX elements and the standard is listed at $399. Is that the upgrade price? No. once you're part of the family, you can, once you log into RX, the Isotope website, as a member, right? As an account owner, you can upgrade at a discounted price. What that price is, I'm not sure, because I'm an idiot and I bought Advanced outright a long time ago when it was on sale. Michelle S. says, I need that mouth declick thingy too. I got excited when I could recognize the mouth clicks in the waveform. Yes, and once you hear them, once you recognize them and hear them, you can't unhear them. There's no turning that off in your head. You hear them once, you hear them always. Then I realized how much work to get rid of each one. Yeah, I know, which is why I bit the bullet and just got that. The RX-10 Elements. Well, back then it was RX-7, but I bought, not the Elements, the Advanced is what I bought. Yeah. Don Stevens says dumb luck. I'm not sure what you're referring to, but insole. See, I was right. Insole. Michael V says, my Skechers shoes have a memory foam insole. I think I also have a set of Skechers with insole memory foam. They're comfy. Kevin Harvey says, being in the building trades, I just built my own and it turned out better than I expected. Plus, you built it on your own. So that just adds a little bit more, pep in your step. I made this for the sole purpose of doing what I love inside. And you can custom design it and put all of the touches that you want in it. There's nothing better than building your own, whatever thing that you're going to use it for. That makes sense. You guys know what I mean. That's awesome. If you have those skills, man. It's awesome. Joya says RX Elements is listed as $32.25. I have the page up. Standard is $3.99. RX Elements has the mouth declick. It does? Elements has the mouth declick? Interesting. So that's a change. If it does, then hey, go get you some Elements for that mouth declick. Stephen Byrne says, it is very important to remember to ventilate regularly, hourly. These spaces, the CO2 can build up, can be significant after even 30 minutes. This is very important to remember. Live show, great. Thank you. Yes. If you are sitting in a booth in the closed door, if you don't have ventilation, by golly, open that door every 30 minutes to exchange the CO2 and the oxygen. You don't want to asphyxiate yourself in your booth. I think most of the prefab booths like Whisper Room and Studio Bricks, actually now that I think about it, I think some of them come unventilated and you have to add the ventilation option. But if you're building your own, make sure that you do have ventilation. And I have seen these, there are a lot of YouTube videos on how to create ventilation in your booth or area. So for me, I'm in this weird little room, whatever this is in here, but it has a door. So when I'm not recording, I open the door to let fresh air in. Otherwise, when I am recording, it's shut. But every once in a while, you want to open the door to let some air in. Thank you for mentioning that, Stephen. You're absolutely right. Stephen then says AI will never emulate authenticity, which is where all the magic is anyway. Absolutely. Facebook user says, this is Colette. I see pictures of booths with windows in them. If a window isn't a problem, is there an issue if I keep my laptop in there too? You're just going to have to test it and see what it sounds like. The only thing that I had a personal problem with when I also started out with a laptop in this room is that the laptop has a fan in it that makes noise that gets picked up by the microphone. So then I discovered that and then I went to like a little mini tower computer, same thing, made noise. I had to move everything outside the room. So now I just said, okay, well, I don't have to worry about the size of my computer. So I just had one custom built and it is very loud and it sits outside of my room. I run all of the cords are extra long and they go under my door and the tower is outside the room just to get rid of noise. But you'll have to just test it and see what it sounds like. And if it is a problem, noise-wise or reflection-wise, then you might need to come up with a way to move it further away from your microphone. Vaping Mike says, very much enjoyed the webinar with some very good information and insights presented. Good. Good. Basenji. Those are vocal dogs. They are vocal. Almost maybe the same as like a husky. They're very vocal dogs. Soleil says, will the mouth declicker work with Audacity? You know, I don't know. That might be a question for either Audacity customer support or RX Isotope customer support. I'm not 100% sure. I use Adobe Audition, so I don't know if it does in fact work with Audacity or not. That would be something to definitely check into. If anybody here uses Audacity and the Isotope plugins and they work, please let us know so we can answer this question. Randy says, I learned a lot when you have a tangent on. Don't encourage the tangents. Don't encourage the tangents. JCCAOL says, for the person with the dog, get the pup a cat. The dog and the cat will bond, and in time, the cat will let the dog know that the owner is recording. Cats are good like that. For the most part, unless you have a cat that doesn't care about anything or anybody. They just do their own thing. But yeah, something to consider. D's Explore. Your voice is so soothing. Yeah, and I'm sitting here clearing my throat and sounding all garbly because I do the dairy. I appreciate that, though. I appreciate that. I don't think that it is, but it's interesting when people say that. Thank you. Facebook user, let's see, who is this? This is Don Stevenson. Dumb luck, referring to how I got significant work. Oh, because the comments come in like so far after I'm talking about something, and I don't know what relates to what. I'm nothing special. I'm pretty average, really. Aren't we all? I mean, we're all just normal people. But the unique thing about you, there's a lot of unique things about you now that I think about it, but your voice is just one unique attribute, right? And not everybody can have the same voice, sound, tone, perception, interpretation. Everybody's, unique take on something is just as unique to you as your voice itself. But we're all just, normal people with unique voices, right? Voiceover Van Deen, how you doing, buddy? Afternoon, all. That's a wave, singular, not waves, plural, given that fallout from their subscription-only announcement yesterday. From what I understand, and for those of you not on the same page as what this comment just stated, was that waves.com, one of the platforms where we get our plugins from, had switched from buy a plugin outright to use, for however long you want to subscription only. But from my understanding is that if you already had the plugin purchased before yesterday, you're still okay to use it for as long as you want without any subscription, right? But anything that you purchased starting yesterday will now become a subscription-based plugin. I don't know how long that's going to last. I think there was enough of a uproar about that announcement. I don't know if they're going to stick to their guns on that one. I don't know. We'll see. Michael V says, I'm on the Isotope site right now, and RX10 Elements is on sale for $32.25. And RX10 Standard is full price right now at $399. Yes, I think it's just the Elements package is on sale. But you will be eligible for discounts after you purchase the Elements version. And that's what I was talking about. So if you buy the lowest package, you can always upgrade to a higher package at a lower rate if you're already part of the Isotope family, right? They give you like a loyalty discount. Joya says, I have plants in my booth. Oh, I wish I could have plants in here. I don't have a green thumb at all. I kill everything that's green. Nothing better than nature cleaning the air. Absolutely. Absolutely. I need some plants in here, but I just kill them. Hat Pauser says at Masonry Construction, have you heard of what Basenjis do instead of bark? They row, 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 husky style. Yeah, yeah. Very vocal dogs. Victoria says, I'll be retiring from retail in about 6 years. VO will be my next career. I will be building my own booth with the help of my daughter and her boyfriend. That is cool. Oh my God, I am so jealous. I wish I had room in this house to build a booth because I totally would. It would be fun. Getty says, you're my fourth influence in VO book audio and VO audiobook narration. Your fourth influence? Who are the other three? Just out of curiosity. Leslie says at Soleil, the mouth declick will work in Audacity. Oh, there we go. There we go. Perfect. That works. Hat says coconut milk is delicious and non-dairy. I know, but you're right. You're right, Hat. I need to just do the coconut milk. And I love coconut milk. I love coconut milk. I think I tried it before and it did weird. I don't think did some weird, it wouldn't mix completely. So it weirded me out. Let's just leave that tangent where it is and I'll try it again. Alma says, hi, Angela. Although I'm not very advanced in voiceover and want to comment, your videos are so inspiring and helpful that I just keep listening instead of chiming in. Love your show. And thank you, first and foremost. And it's okay if you loiter and lurk. It's okay. As long as you're getting something from my videos and these lives, then I'm a happy camper. Or at least just the sense of community that comes with being here. Tangent. Yeah. Amok. Tangent. Oh my God. No tangents. Victoria says, thank you for the dog advice. I'm hoping he will become accustomed to me talking to myself. And that's a weird thing to say anyway. But you never know. I mean, it could be something that he gets used to, just hearing your voice nonstop and just chill out after a while. Soleil says, Leslie, thanks for letting me know. I'm very happy right now. Good. Ralph says, I use RX9 and it does work within Audacity. The removal too. That's awesome. So for all the Audacity users, go get you some RX plugins. Mary says, oh my God, thank you for that Waves explanation. Goodness, I was so confused. That is my understanding. But definitely, if you have Waves plugins, go check it out, read the fine print, make sure that you understand completely. But that is my understanding. And I'm not always right. I mean, but that's my understanding. Hat says, I just now opened my RX10 standard and it has an update. Successfully downloaded. Also, again, Sweetwater is still showing it on sale at $199. For standard? Oh, yes, Sweetwater. Sweetwater.com is a great website to go to for not only gear, right, for microphones, interfaces, everything and anything, but you can also buy isotope plugins through Sweetwater. And that also applies to if you have a universal audio interface and you want to buy plugins for that, you can also buy bundles of plugins from Sweetwater as well. Sweetwater is a great place to shop for stuff. I would say 50% of what is in my studio is from Amazon and the other 50% is from Sweetwater. Great customer service at Sweetwater too. You can always reach out to them and ask for advice. Their sales reps are amazing. Ralph says the removal tool in RX9 I have been able to use separately from Audacity. Oh, that's right. You can. That opens up like a whole new window and you can manipulate your audio within Isotope, their own little DAW, right? You're right. I forgot about that. Masonry says, I have 2 Great Pyrenees dogs. Talk about barkers. Yes. My parents have a Australian Shepherd and Pyrenees mix. Smart dog. He just knows. He knows what you're what you're asking of him. He just doesn't care. And he'll just bark anyway. Hmm. Joe says, my family says that I have a black thumb. Yeah, same. Yeah, same. I can keep my pets alive and my kid alive, but anything green, forget about it. Forget about it. Getty says they are Scott Brick, Amber Battaglia, tongue doesn't want to work today, and Terry Briscoe. Awesome. Wow. That is amazing in itself to be lumped in with those other people, to be in the same breathing space as those people. That's fabulous. Thank you for that. That's a lot more than I deserve. Wow. Steven says, for Adobe Audition, is it wiser to edit in multi-track? I edit in waveform. Sorry for so much text. The reason is that I find too many files overwhelming. I always edit in waveform. The only time I use multi-track, I would imagine it might be a little bit more difficult to edit in multi-track for long form editing. Multi-track I only use for mixing multiple tracks once they're already edited, and or adding in music and sound effects, or both. When I have to manipulate more than one file or mix more than one file together, but I always edit in waveform because I can get a little bit more surgical in waveform. Hat says, the canned coconut milk has a lot of oil and will in fact separate into oil and cream if left sitting. That's probably what it is. I use the Silk unsweetened coconut milk in the pretty blue carton. Writing that down right now. Silk. I didn't know Silk made a coconut milk option. Coconut milk. That's going on my next grocery list. Thank you for that, Hat. Might have just saved me a whole lot of and then for that, I appreciate you. Joya says, store-bought coconut milk mixed with coffee creates a chemical reaction that leaves an oily film on the top of the coffee. Soy or rice milk mix better. I've tried almond milk, I think, once before in a pinch because I didn't have any more creamer. But I'm like old and stuck in my ways. I've always done my coffee one way, and I'm just kind of stuck in that way. But I really just need to get with it. That way I'm not constantly clearing my throat or having... Yeah, I do it to myself because I'm stupid. But I should definitely look into these. Pamela says Sweetwater, best in customer service. All ditto to what Angela says. Sweetwater is fabulous. So one of the best companies. I've always had the best experiences working with Sweetwater. And my sales rep texts me every once in a while and says, hey, how is that new interface going? They're amazing. Joya says, Isotope is not supporting off-site plugin sales as of March 24th. You won't get updates or upgrades if you buy on Sweetwater. Oh, really? I bought mine directly through Isotope, but I didn't know that. But so if you purchase from Sweetwater, you don't create an account through Isotope for the licensing and such? I wonder how that works. Kara says, I got a Jack Russell. I had a JR a long time ago. Chihuahua mix, so any noise she goes off. Yes. I loved my Jack Russell. Captain Jack, he was. Michael V says, love, love, love Sweetwater. Yeah, same. Love Sweetwater. Hat says, oh, really, at Joya? Good to know. Muy importante. See. Mary HP VO says, I have a husky, but it's the cats that make all the noise. Of course. Every once in a while, I'll hear a ball with a little bell in it being rolled around or rolled down the stairs toward my studio. She doesn't make any, well, unless it's dinner time, she doesn't really make any noise vocally. She's just chasing stuff around and makes noise. Andy B says, I have an Anatolian Shepherd, Great Pyrenees mix. She's big, 75. Yeah, they get big. They get big. My parents' dog is a chunk because he eats everything and anything. But they get pretty big anyway. It's a big dog. Ralph says Isotope RX10 standard is currently $99 on B&H. Oh, that's right. B&H, is it B&H Photo? B&H. That's another great site to find great gear on too, B&H. Sean says oatmeal milk. I use that. Oatmeal milk. I've never tried that. You think it would be good though. Is it good? It's got to be good if you're using it. Sean Stoddard says, I have a Husky Shepherd mix. Loves to hang out in my booth when I'm checking emails and stuff. Oh, Husky Shepherd. So is he vocal? They make a lot of noise. Bet you smart though. Annie says, you want to talk about loud pets? I have 4-week-old chicks in my kitchen and we'll be getting more next week. Oh boy. Oh boy. Just that constant cheep, 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 cheep. Oh boy. That's a handful. Sean says, also butter in my coffee. I've never tried butter. Never tried butter. Bet you that's good too. Butter in my coffee. God, you guys are giving me so many great ideas. Thank you. Kevin says, coffee black, no sugar, no creamer. Oh, ugh. My partner does that too. I don't know how he does it. Ugh. As much as I love coffee, I can't do black. I can't do plain coffee. Forget it. Nope. Can't do it. But tea, I can do plain tea just fine. Joe Voice says oatmeal milk. Okay. So I've got silk coconut milk and oatmeal milk. I'm going to try those. Facebook user, let's see, this is Colette. After 15 minutes talking to Sweetwater, I was able to return about half the stuff I bought on Amazon. There you go. Yeah, Sweetwater is amazing. They will walk you through the whole process and talk to you beforehand to make sure that you're getting what you need for the purpose that you need it for, right? Like the appropriate gear for the appropriate usage that you're looking for. They'll walk you through the whole thing. Matt Russell says, hi, Angela. Hi, Matthew. Sorry. I don't want to, abbreviate your name if you go by Matthew. Hi, Angela. Is it easier to forego an audiobook with a client than setting up a recording for a public domain site such as LibriVox? Is it easier to forego an audiobook with a client? I would say it's about the same as far as the process. Is that what we're asking? Easier to forego an audiobook. It's about the same process, although with the client, you're getting a lot more instruction and direction up front. Whereas LibriVox, they just sort of give you the section and say, go. The direction is completely up to you. But it takes a little bit more work before starting with working on or producing an audiobook with a client up front. What time is it? 10:22. Okay, we got to wrap this up here. So we'll go through these last bits of comments. Victoria says, furiously writing down all the names of the websites mentioned. Yeah. I think we only mentioned Audacity, Isotope, Sweetwater, and B&H. Did I miss any? Sean Stoddard says, not too much noise. For the Husky Shepherd mix. Well, that's good. Because I know Huskies are vocal dogs. Michael V says, we have a Chiweenie and a Chia Pap that bark at the wind and everything else. Yeah, the little dogs, man. They have such like a Napoleon complex, right? Or like anxiety. My little JR, the Jack Russell I had super bad anxiety. Yeah, everything. Bark, 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 bark. Mary HPVO says, silk oat milk, oatmeal cookie. What? Stop. Oatmeal cookie creamer? Girl. I'm writing that down. Silk oat milk. Guys got all the deets on some delicious coffee creamer alternatives. Oatmeal cookie. Oh my God. That just sounds so good. Thank you. All right, last comment. Stephen Byrne, butter in coffee is called bullet coffee. It is amazing. When you calcify coffee with creamers, etc., you neutralize all the healthy flavonoids. Bullet is awesome. Wow, getting our learn on today about coffee. Flavonoids. So okay. So you're telling me that my entire life that I've been a coffee drinker. How old am I? So a good 40 something years of my life, because I started early. I've been missing out on all the flavonoids of coffee. Is that what you're telling me? Wow. What a bummer. Bummer, man. All right. I don't want to go off on a coffee tangent, but I will if you force me to. But I got to go because I got work to do. But thank you, everybody, for joining today. I will be here. Same bat time, same bat channel next week, next Tuesday, the same time. Thank you, everyone, for participating today and for joining the conversation. I really appreciate all of you. And I look forward to seeing everybody next week. Bye. Thank you so much for listening today. I really appreciate it. If you have an extra moment, please feel free to leave a review. We'll see you next time.